NFL news and notes. It's how we get down on a Tuesday. Week number 2 in the rearview mirror. Week number 3 on deck. And, Monday never sleeps, Joe. Thursday Night Football, you might get a hammer job by the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. We'll preview that game, obviously, throughout the week here and certainly on Thursday. But I got a question. We're going to start with some news and notes. But if you noticed around the NFL, the Chiefs are always big complainers all of the time. When things don't go their way and the refs aren't helping them out and bailing them out for victories, they get upset about things like not being able to stop the tush push. Now, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I get a kick out of the tush push as the only team in the NFL that can effectively run it, but there are some discrepancies, Joe. Like, yes, sometimes the Philadelphia Eagles, it's hard to differentiate if a guard or a tackle is moving a little bit before the center. Yes, it is hard to officiate, but also understand this. Oh, they got to ban it now because it's too hard to officiate. You know what they have to do for the tush push here? You ever watch soccer? I don't watch soccer all that much, but I understand. They have like that canister of foam that they use on like a free kick. And they go, hey, I told you to back up. And they go, you know what? I'm just going to spray this foam line. You can't cross it. So you know what I want to happen? Spray the foam can across the line of scrimmage that says the defense can't cross this spot and the offense can't cross this spot, so there's a true neutral zone. If they do that, the Eagles will get 3 and 4 yards per quarterback sneak on the tush push, because the one advantage that the defense has on there, Joe, they allow them to basically go nose to nose and helmet to helmet with the offense to try to stop it. So it's officiated to me poorly at times on both sides, but I'm tired of seeing on social media, oh, the Eagles got to get rid of the play because they do it wrong. Notice every single still shot of any defense that plays the Eagles, they're offsides every single snap.
Again, so what? If you know they're going to jump early, then you've got to be able to counteract that here, Donnie. The excuses are over the top here. First of all, what you can do it. I don't know, why are you guys not, why is Kansas City or any other team not taking advantage of it then? I mean, give a finger, take an arm. Like, I don't understand. If you know this is happening and it's not being called and you're not taking advantage of it, that's a you problem. It's got nothing to do with the Eagles or the tush push.
I love it. It's just one of those topics that pops up that just gets on my nerves when I see it, because yes, I understand it is tough to call it, but both sides of the equation have to be taken a look at there, and we'll see if it happens at this point. But you are right about this. It's like in the NBA. Well, Steph Curry shoots the three-point shot. He's amazing at it. Well, you can get a player like that. No, we just want to take your player away from that. Stop the madness at this point. Stop the crying. Stop it here, because the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be on their way to another Super Bowl, and you can't stop it out here. You know what else you can stop, though? Injuries stop things, which is why most teams don't do the tush push. They don't want their quarterback injured. You know, a quarterback got injured not on the tush push? Joe Burrow. Oh, no, Joe. 90 days possibility that he's down, which means we might not even see him back if the Bengals go in the tank for the rest of the way. Devastating news on a season. They finally got a 2-0 start. Here they go. No, they ain't going anywhere now, Joe.
Well, it's tough. But, listen, I do think they have a reliable backup quarterback that's been there. He's done this. And it's not like, Higgins and Chase and Brent. You still have all the weapons Burrow would have had, and all the same things, even though Burrow's not there, all the same things hold true for Cincinnati to be successful this year. They had to be better on defense. The offensive line had to protect the quarterback better than what they've done in years past. If they still don't do those two things, Donnie, it doesn't matter whether Burrow's there or not there. They're going to get run over. So I think it's not as big a deal as people think it may be, because unless they do those two things on a regular basis this season, Burrow wouldn't have helped them one way or the other. In fact, he eventually just would have got killed and run over.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday, the chance maybe to buy in on the Bengals a little bit later in the season. But right now, if we take a look at the odds standing here to win the AFC North, it's the Ravens at a minus 425. And by the way, they're 1-1, people. They're not 2-0. They're 1-1 at a minus 425, followed by the Bengals, who, again, the injury concerns. The Steelers, we'll see what we get out of Aaron Rodgers. And then the Browns at 71 price point. But to see a 1-1 team at a minus 425 price, sort of insanity. We'll see where that number goes throughout the season. But if we do take a look at Joe Burrow, the one thing, you have Ferraris on this team. But, when the Ferraris, come back to the compound, You like to put them in a nice garage to keep them safe. You don't want them out there in the elements. Say, Donnie, what the hell are you talking about at this point? Well, look, you don't want to get your Ferrari beat up, and Joe Burrow gets beat up because has no offensive line and holds onto the football too long. Andrew Luck and Joe Burrow, looks like they're headed on that similar path to, yeah, I'm taking a beating out here, and it might shorten my lifeline here in the NFL.
We've already seen that movie, Donnie. It's called the Andrew Luck movie, because same thing happened with him in Indy, where all of those great weapons and Ferraris, and they could not protect Luck and got him absolutely destroyed and cut his career short. And yes, the Bengals are in that. We could very well be having the same conversation in a couple of years where Burrow's like, I'm done. Like, what? Why am I I can't keep doing this. We're not protecting him, and you're losing the best years of his career because you haven't invested in the right players on the offensive line to protect him. So it's kind of mind-blowing. But of all the teams and organizations that this is the least surprising on, it's this one with the Bengals and that ownership group there that just, they refuse to spend the money where they need to spend the money.
Bengals, Vikings, who's that starting quarterback? We don't know for either team at this point right now, but the one expectation is J.J. McCarthy's going to be down for multiple weeks because why? His offensive line apparently not protecting him, and a high ankle sprain in his de facto rookie season. That's going to put a hamper on things there for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that's awful. But the fun part is we do get to make fun of Carson Wentz, who will now be the backup quarterback. How good is that? How much fun is that going to be? So now we get to watch Carson Wentz remind everyone what a absolute bust he was. Eagles fans got to be snickering here, Don. There's got to be a little something that warms your heart to watch Carson Wentz now come out there and get absolutely crushed here. Unless Kevin O'Connell is truly the quarterback whisperer, and maybe he can revive Carson Wentz's career like he did Sam Darnold's.
Now, hold on and let me take a look, Joe, quickly on this, right? So you take a look and say, all right, well, 2 games into the season for the Eagles, they're 2-0. Week 3, it's the Rams. Week 4, it's the Bucks. Week 5, it's the Broncos. 6, the Giants. Week 7 is the Vikings. Could it be Carson Wentz playing against the Philadelphia Eagles? Oh, my goodness. Let's make it happen here. More hot topics on the horizon right here on the early line for a Tuesday. Look at headlines in the NFL. We've closed the book on week number 2, and you got to open up the next chapter, which would be week number 3 in the NFL, which takes place on a Thursday night, and it's a divisional battle between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Now, we're being nice saying it's a battle because the odds makers are saying it probably won't be a battle. Opening number at 9.5, Joe. Now we see 12.5s across the board. Miami and Buffalo, Thursday night. Could be a massacre up there in Orchard Park.
Well, it could also be the beginning of the end for this regime in Miami here, because short week, the likelihood of them getting blown out is severe. I mean, think about this, Donnie. We're in week 3 of the NFL season, and did you see the money line price on the Buffalo Bills? No team should be that kind of favorite in a division rivalry in week 3 of the NFL season. If that comes to fruition and we've got another, blowout, then I think that's when all of a sudden coaching change, GM change, everything begins before they get to the week 4 game. Little extra rest, little time to work in a new coach, an interim coach, because it's not going well in Miami. And this might just be the last place they want to go, Orchard Park, to try and turn things around.
It feels like that game screams over. Not because I think Miami has a great offense. I just think Buffalo can score on anybody. You saw how many points they put up on the Ravens defense, who was a very good defense. You saw how many points they put up on the Jets, who was like, you know what? They probably could have hung a 50 spot if the Jets were actually playing football on offense on their side here. So I see that 49.5 on Thursday night. Usually Thursday night games are a little bit more sloppy, and yes, it is a division rivalry. But in what world is Miami like, let's run the football and slow the clock down? That's not happening here. Like Mike McDaniel, I think, is if he's going to go out, guns blazing. Tua throw 45 plus times. We'll see where we land in this game, but I think we get points in this one. Philadelphia and Los Angeles. That's the Rams and the Eagles, a replay, or should I say a rematch of last year's divisional battle in Philadelphia in the snow, which saw the Eagles squeak out a victory on their way to an NFC Championship game. Hurts versus Stafford. The Eagles open up as a 4.5-point favorite. That's backtracking. We're as low as 3 now at DraftKings, 3.5 at FanDuel, 3.5 at BetMGM, and a total of 44.5. The Philadelphia Eagles offense hasn't been untracked yet. It's pretty good defense for the Rams here. This looks like a playoff preview, Joe. What do you anticipate early in the week?
Well, it absolutely does, and it was actually a pretty darn good playoff game, was it not? I think this is going to be one to watch. Now, again, I will caution folks that be very patient here, because what you are going to get from teams in September has absolutely nothing to do, Donnie, especially two teams like this who are likely heading to the playoffs. This is not what they're going to be come October and November. So whatever happens here, it's likely not going to be a ton of scoring. I think what we got with Kansas City is likely the kind of game we're going to get here. It's going to be slow, methodical, a lot of defense, big hits, not expecting a ton of scoring here.
Let's keep it moving, because leverage cost us another 2-0 versus 2-0 team here for a battle of the AFC West. That's Denver, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers. Bo Nix and Justin Herbert, two young slingers out there, 469, 470 on the rotation. This is a 4 o'clock game and a slight favorite for the Chargers at only 2.5. What gives at this point right now? Are we expecting a big bounce back from the Denver Broncos?
Oh, this is a tricky game, Donnie, because we see it every year, time and time again. Yeah. There is a very good chance, all the things that I am reading and hearing coming out of Denver, is that that game and the way they lost that game against Indy is not sitting right with them at all. The problem is, Donnie, that Denver is 1-6 in one-score games dating back to last year, now 1-7. So they tend to shoot themselves in the foot in close games. What are the chances, Donnie, they lose the Indy game again this week? Because that is my fear. They're going to lose one game twice because they're not going to be able to put it together and get it done this week. That's my fear here with Denver moving forward.
Tough scene for the Denver Broncos, but hey, you do have to pick up the scraps and move forward. But you take a look at all that momentum now that you're sitting there with the Chargers. If they can go 3-0 and put even more pressure on the Kansas City Chiefs, we'll certainly find out. Dallas and Chicago, 425 game. Dak Prescott, they looked good on offense last week. Looked really bad on defense. Put out a miracle win over the New York Giants. They're going to face the Chicago Bears, who maybe Ben Johnson's picking up the phone saying, hey, Dan Campbell, do you need an offensive assistant that I can come back to? I don't like head coaching in the NFL, particularly with Caleb Williams as my quarterback. But the Bears are a favorite here at -1.5 and a total of 50.5, Joe.
Yeah, so Chicago, hot mess, getting absolutely ripped by Detroit. And that defense, not very good. But the big, listen, if Caleb Williams is going to have some success, it's probably going to be against this Dallas defense. Because if Russ can throw for 400, 500 yards against that defense of Dallas, Ben Johnson should be able to dial up enough offense here. I think this is a dead over, Donnie. Give me the points from both these teams in this spot.
Yeah, nobody's punting, right? It just feels like 4th and 2, 4th and 3. Just let it sling out there. See what happens in this environment. Sunday Night Football. Kansas City, the 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs, head to the Meadowlands to take on MetLife's finest in the New York Giants. Look at this line. Opened up at -6.5. Now it's dipping to 5.5 at a lot of outlets. There's still 6s out there, depending on what book you're shopping with, in a total of 44.5. The Giants looked really capable and competent on offense last week. The one thing that's not capable and competent right now is the Kansas City offense. But is this the perfect tonic for a Chiefs win to get their season started? Or if the Giants knock them off, my goodness, Big Red.
Yeah, this is a unfortunate spot here for the Giants, who, again, Donnie, I worry that the Giants are going to lose that Dallas game twice. Something tells me in that locker room with this that they thought they had that game won, and when they didn't, that might linger over to a very angry Chiefs team that is going to look to get a W here, it would only be the Chiefs for me in this spot.
Monday Night Football. Oh, my goodness. The Detroit Lions taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, you might say, like, oh, both these teams are actually 1-1, but the offenses should be on display. 51.5 as the total. But I'm telling you right now, I look at that line, and sometimes you could just read lines without handicapping. You look and say, wait a second. Most outlets showing a 6-point favorite for Baltimore. Did you see how Detroit put up 50 last week? That should be an easy. The same way you might have thought that the Cleveland Browns on the road getting 12.5 points after should have beating, coulda, woulda, shoulda, those Cincinnati Bengals. I read this line on these opening lines we're looking at, Joe. Baltimore in a smash job over Detroit. That's how I read that line.
I don't know, Donnie. And the reason I don't know is because that Detroit defense is legit. That is a legit championship defense. We know Baltimore at home is tough. And we know that, of course, Lamar is tough. But, you know, Jared Goff outdoors Monday night, not exactly the greatest track record, but I love this Detroit defense. I think this is a dead under. I think everyone's going to go, you know what? It's going to be points. It's going to be. I don't know. I think this is going to be way more of a defensive battle than people think.
By the way, if you are a dome team, it is still the month of September. 74 degrees, Joe, in Baltimore, expected Monday night.
Yep.
No rain in the forecast. Winds under 5 miles per hour. So dome team outdoors, 32 degrees, wind chill in the teens, and wind whipping all around the field and snow in the forecast. That's not the case here. I do think we get a show. I love the fact that we had a 50 spot put on the board for Detroit, so their confidence is high. But I just look at that 6, Joe, and I say to myself, it feels like a touchdown or more victory for those Baltimore Ravens. I'm just reading lines here, Joe. That's all I'm doing. I'm just reading them.
Listen, it's again, that means that maybe the market doesn't believe Detroit's offense, or at least somewhere in between what we got from Green Bay and what we got against Chicago. But I think the defenses come out to play in this game.
Absolutely. And by the way, which quarterback's going to come out to play in week number 3? Find out with us throughout the week right here on the early line. Now it's time to have some fun. Adam Kaufman joins the show next. Don't you go anywhere. It's a Tuesday right here on the Early Line Sports Grid Network. It's how we do it. We wake up, we get the information you need to know, we pass it along to the public, and sets up your Sports Grid day. It's Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Raineri. Now we welcome in Adam Kaufman, who I guess is going to want to appear more and more on the show, because when he does come on, it looks like fireworks out there on those handicaps, Adam, huh? Yeah,
I think it's like 7-1-1, something like that on the MLB early line plays. Listen, when you guys get me out of bed nice and early to give you stuff for baseball, I don't know what it is. It hits. I mean, there are no guarantees in this life, but we try. We try. So listen, if you're out there watching, listening, take it with a grain of salt. Don't go putting mortgage payments on all these plays, but these are the ones that I like best.
What Adam's really telling you is press the lever down, ask everybody for money, and lay the wood on these plays tonight as we have some fun. I'll tell you, before we get to Major League Baseball with you, Adam, I mean, big news around the NFL. Like, we're only 2 weeks in, and all of a sudden, multiple quarterbacks are down. None worse than the Cincinnati Bengals, who finally, Adam, opened up at a 2-0 season, and away they go. But they lose Joe Burrow for as much as 90 days right now. How do we handle the situation for the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, we get the Burrow news, and then Jaden Daniels is missing time, and then like it's like in Dumb and Dumber, like our pets' heads are falling off, our QB's heads are falling off. It's weird 2 weeks in. Look, as far as the Bengals, obviously you noted one very important thing, which is they are out to a 2-0 start. So I wouldn't, if you're a backer of the Bengals, be it to return to the playoffs after a couple year absence, or even be in the fight to win the AFC, especially with the Chiefs 0-2 start, I wouldn't abandon ship. I wouldn't all of a sudden in frustration tear up those tickets. There's a difference between Joe Burrow's out for the year, and we've seen that before a couple of times in his career, versus he is expected back in 3 months, which is mid-December, in time for a stretch run. I think that the Bengals, honestly, Jake Browning, who has been a serviceable backup in his time in Cincinnati and has won more than he has lost and has completed roughly 70% of the passes that he has had in Burrow's absence when a full-time starter, I think Browning generally is going to be fine. Honestly, he showed us something over the weekend in that back-and-forth game with the Jaguars and coming back to win it. Now, obviously, he kind of had tunnel vision for Jamar Chase. I think, what do you have, 16 targets, 14 catches? But who wouldn't? It's Jamar Chase, one of the best wide receivers in all of football. But you also have the other Chase Brown, who can move the chains. You also have T. Higgins. So really, I know a lot of people want to make this about Burrow. I'm not that alarmed about Cincinnati's offense, even though obviously Browning is a step down, maybe multiple steps down. What it comes down to for me, really, the Bengals defense. The defense needs to do enough in Burrow's absence to just kind of, stay in the fight, stay in the dance. You can't go out there and give up 25 points every single game because, no, Browning is not going to be able to cover that. There are going to be some offensive duds. We saw the dud in week 1 with Burrow out there. So these things are going to happen. But, I still think Cincinnati, I had them as a playoff team coming into the year. No real aspirations for them beyond that. But, all right, they're fine to get back to 10 wins. Burrow, obviously, off of what he did last season in this offense, there's so much potential there. If they can right the ship just a little bit defensively, and I do think the first couple games, they've been better than what we looked at throughout last year, I think they're going to be okay. I still think they're in the mix for a playoff spot. And weird things have happened these first 2 weeks of the season to where the AFC is wide open.